War, a word that conjures images of chaos, destruction, and unbridled aggression. But amidst the turmoil of armed conflicts, did you know there exists a set of rules, almost as old as war itself, that dictates what can and cannot be done? These rules, woven into the fabric of international law, are designed to bring order to chaos, to draw lines even in the heat of battle. They are the unspoken laws of war, governing the conduct of armed conflict and protecting those who are most vulnerable. But how do these rules hold up in the face of modern warfare? Are they still relevant in a world where technology has changed the face of combat? And what happens when these rules are broken? Today, on Geoland, we dive deep into the intricate world of war rights. We'll explore the surprising truths, the strict prohibitions, and the gray areas that challenge our understanding of what is fair in war. Stay with us as we unravel the complexities of these rules of war and discover the fine line between lawful conduct and war crimes. Join us on this journey of discovery, where we strive to bring the unvarnished truth to light. This is Geoland, a place for those who seek to understand, question, and learn about the world in its rawest form.
All I'm offering is the truth, nothing more.
The basics of war rights. When we think of war, we often imagine a lawless realm where might makes right. But contrary to popular belief, war is not a world without rules. In fact, the laws of war, also known as international humanitarian law, have been developed over centuries to regulate the conduct of armed conflict. These laws are grounded in the principles of humanity, necessity, proportionality, and distinction. They aim to limit the effects of armed conflict for humanitarian reasons by protecting those who are not participating in hostilities and by restricting and regulating the means and methods of warfare. A cornerstone of these laws is the Geneva Conventions, a series of treaties that have been universally ratified, meaning accepted by almost every country in the world. The Geneva Conventions, along with their additional protocols, set out specific rules during wartime, including the treatment of prisoners of war, the protection of wounded soldiers, and the safeguarding of civilians. But how did these rules come to be? The history of war rights is as old as warfare itself, evolving from customary practices to formal treaties. From the chivalric codes of medieval knights to the modern-day Geneva Conventions, the journey of these laws reflects our continuous effort to bring a sense of morality and order to the chaos of war. Yet, as clear as these rules might seem on paper, their application in the heat of battle is anything but straightforward. The complexity of modern warfare, with its technological advancements and new forms of conflict, constantly tests the boundaries of these age-old principles. What is allowed in war? As we delve into the rules of war, a key question arises. What actions are permissible during armed conflict? The laws of war, while restrictive, do allow certain actions under specific conditions. Firstly, targeting enemy combatants is generally permissible. However, this comes with a crucial caveat: the principle of distinction. This principle mandates that parties in a conflict must always distinguish between combatants and non-combatants. Civilians and civilian infrastructure should never be the target. Another key aspect is the principle of proportionality. This means that even when targeting legitimate military objectives, the attack must not cause incidental loss of civilian life or damage to civilian objects that would be excessive in relation to the concrete and direct military advantage anticipated. Capturing enemy soldiers is also a part of warfare. Once captured, these soldiers become prisoners of war, or POWs, and are entitled to certain protections. The Geneva Conventions lay out clear rules for the treatment of POWs, emphasizing humane treatment and prohibiting torture or inhumane conditions. Additionally, the use of certain weapons and tactics is regulated. While there's no comprehensive list of allowed weapons, the use of weapons that cause unnecessary suffering or have indiscriminate effects, like chemical or biological weapons, is prohibited. It's important to note that while these rules provide a framework, the reality of their application can be complex. The nature of the military objective, the technology used, and the circumstances of the conflict all play a role in determining what is considered lawful. As we move forward, remember that these rules are not just theoretical. They are essential in minimizing the horrors of war and protecting those who are most vulnerable. In our next segment, we'll explore the darker side of this topic. What is strictly prohibited in times of war? What is strictly prohibited? While there are actions that are permissible in war under strict conditions, there are also clear prohibitions, actions that are never allowed, regardless of the circumstances. These prohibitions are crucial in safeguarding human dignity even amidst conflict. One of the most fundamental prohibitions is against targeting civilians or civilian infrastructure. The principle of distinction, which we discussed earlier, is absolute. Intentional attacks on non-combatants or civilian objects like schools, hospitals, and places of worship are strictly forbidden. Another key prohibition is the use of certain types of weapons. This includes chemical and biological weapons, which are banned under various international treaties due to their indiscriminate nature and the prolonged suffering they cause. Similarly, the use of landmines, cluster bombs, and blinding laser weapons is also restricted or banned. Torture and inhumane treatment of prisoners of war or detainees are also strictly prohibited. The Geneva Conventions explicitly forbid any form of torture, cruelty, or degrading treatment, regardless of the prisoner's status or the perceived benefits of such actions. Additionally, the laws of war prohibit the use of tactics that aim to spread terror among the civilian population. This includes acts like taking hostages, collective punishment, and threats of violence that are not justified by military necessity. These prohibitions are not just moral guidelines, they are legal obligations under international law. Violations of these rules are considered war crimes, and individuals responsible can be held accountable in international courts. But enforcing these prohibitions is a complex challenge. In our next segment, we'll delve into the gray areas and controversies of war rights, where the clarity of these rules often meets the messy realities of armed conflict. Gray areas and controversies. In the realm of war rights, not everything is black and white. There are gray areas and controversies that challenge even the most well-defined rules. These complexities often arise from the evolving nature of warfare and the advent of new technologies. One such gray area is the use of drones in targeted killings. While drones can be used to carry out precise strikes with minimal collateral damage, their use raises questions about the legality and ethics of remote warfare, especially when it comes to sovereignty and the identification of combatants. Cyber warfare is another emerging battlefield that tests the limits of traditional war rights. Cyber attacks can disrupt critical infrastructure and cause significant damage, yet they don't fit neatly into the conventional understanding of armed conflict. Determining how international law applies to cyber operations remains a contentious issue. Another controversial aspect is the concept of preemptive strikes or preventive war. The idea of striking first to prevent an imminent attack raises significant legal and moral questions, especially regarding the evidence required to justify such actions. The treatment of non-state actors, such as terrorist groups, also presents a challenge. These groups often do not adhere to the laws of war, complicating the application of these rules for state actors engaged in conflicts with them. Moreover, the increasing privatization of war, with the use of private military contractors, blurs the lines of accountability and responsibility, further complicating the application of international humanitarian law. These gray areas not only challenge the existing legal framework, but also spark debates among legal experts, policymakers, and military strategists. As warfare continues to evolve, so too must our understanding and interpretation of the laws that govern it. The role of international courts. In the intricate tapestry of war rights, international courts play a pivotal role. They are the guardians of justice, holding individuals and states accountable for violations of international humanitarian law. But how does this system of accountability work? The International Criminal Court, or ICC, is a key player in this arena. Established by the Rome Statute in 2002, the ICC has the jurisdiction to prosecute individuals for war crimes, crimes against humanity, genocide, and the crime of aggression. It's a court of last resort, intervening only when national courts are unable or unwilling to prosecute. War crimes trials, whether in international courts like the ICC or national courts, follow a rigorous legal process. Accused individuals are entitled to a fair trial, and the burden of proof lies with the prosecution. These trials not only seek to punish the guilty, but also to establish a historical record of violations and provide a sense of closure and justice for victims. However, the path to justice is fraught with challenges. Issues like political will, state cooperation, and the gathering of evidence in conflict zones can impede the prosecution of war crimes. Moreover, the ICC's jurisdiction is limited to its member states, and some major powers are not members, complicating the global reach of justice. Despite these challenges, international courts have had notable successes. The Nuremberg and Tokyo trials after World War II, the ad hoc tribunals for the former Yugoslavia and Rwanda, and various ICC cases have set important precedents in international law and have shown that accountability for war crimes is possible. Yet, the quest for justice in times of war is an ongoing journey. As we witness conflicts around the globe, the role of international courts in upholding the laws of war remains more crucial than ever. In our next segment, we will bring these concepts to life with real-world examples. We'll examine case studies of recent conflicts to see how the rules of war are applied, upheld, or, in some tragic instances, violated. Real-world examples. Understanding the rules of war is one thing, but seeing them in action brings a whole new perspective. Let's explore some real-world examples where the principles of war rights were either upheld or violated, shedding light on the complexities and realities of armed conflict. First, let's look at the conflict in Syria. This ongoing war has seen numerous allegations of war crimes from various parties involved. Reports of targeting civilian populations, the use of chemical weapons, and the destruction of cultural heritage sites highlight the challenges of enforcing international humanitarian law in modern warfare. Moving to a different part of the world, the Rwandan genocide of 1994 presents a harrowing case of mass atrocities. The systematic killing of Tutsi ethnic minorities, often with the involvement or complicity of government forces, led to the establishment of the International Criminal Tribunal for Rwanda, which prosecuted key figures responsible for the genocide. In contrast, the Gulf War of 1990-1991 showcases a different aspect of war rights. The conflict saw a significant effort to adhere to the laws of war, with coalition forces often taking measures to minimize civilian casualties and damage to civilian infrastructure. This conflict is frequently cited as an example of how adherence to war rights can shape the conduct of military operations. Another example is the Israeli-Palestinian conflict, which raises complex questions about occupation, self-defense, and the protection of civilians in a prolonged conflict. The legal and ethical debates surrounding this conflict underscore the challenges in applying war rights in situations where historical, political, and social factors intertwine. These examples represent just a fraction of the numerous conflicts around the globe. Each case brings its own set of challenges and lessons, reminding us that the application of war rights is never straightforward and always subject to the nuances of each conflict. As we conclude this segment, it's clear that the rules of war, while essential, face constant tests in the real world. The ongoing struggle to uphold these principles amidst the chaos of war is a testament to our collective effort to maintain a semblance of humanity even in the darkest of times. The future of war ethics. As we reach the end of our journey through the complex landscape of war rights, it's important to reflect on what we've uncovered. War, in all its forms, is a stark reality of our world. Yet within this reality, the rules of war stand as a beacon of humanity, an attempt to impose order amidst chaos and to protect the innocent from the horrors of conflict. We've explored the fundamental principles that govern the conduct of war, the permissible actions and the strict prohibitions. We've delved into the gray areas and controversies that challenge these rules and looked at the role of international courts in upholding justice. Our journey through real-world examples has shown us that while the laws of war are clear in theory, their application is often mired in the complexities of each conflict. These examples remind us that the pursuit of justice and the enforcement of these laws is an ongoing struggle, one that requires constant vigilance and commitment. But why does all this matter? It matters because these rules reflect our collective values as a global community. They represent our understanding that even in war, there are limits, that even amidst conflict, there is a place for dignity and respect for human life. As we continue to witness conflicts around the globe, the importance of these rules cannot be overstated. They are not just legal obligations but moral imperatives, guiding us towards a world where even in the midst of war, we strive to uphold our humanity. As we close this insightful exploration into the rules of war, we turn to you, our viewers. Geoland is more than just a channel. It's a journey towards truth and understanding. Our mission is to share exclusive, thought-provoking content that sheds light on the complexities of our world. Here at Geoland, we value the pursuit of truth above all. In a world brimming with information, finding the truth can be like searching for a needle in a haystack. That's why we delve deep, bringing you content that's not just informative, but transformative. Our anonymity is our strength. It allows us to remain unbiased, focused solely on uncovering and sharing the truth. This approach ensures that our content is genuine, unfiltered, and dedicated to enlightenment, not influence. But to continue this journey, we need your support. Every like, every share, and every subscription helps us grow and improve. It empowers us to bring more content that matters, content that makes a difference, content that seeks the truth. So, if you believe in what we're doing here at Geoland, show your support. Share this video with friends, family, and anyone who values a deeper understanding of the world. Subscribe to our channel for more exclusive content and help us in our quest to share the truth. Your engagement doesn't just help the channel, it contributes to a larger movement of informed, critical thinking and truth-seeking. Together, we can make a difference. Together, we can uncover the truths that shape our world. Thank you for being a part of Geoland. Remember, every share counts, every voice matters. Let's continue this journey together, exploring, questioning, and discovering the truth.